Judges chapter 6 unveils a pivotal moment in Israel's history. It narrates the story of Gideon, a seemingly ordinary man chosen by God for an extraordinary mission. This chapter offers a profound exploration of faith, doubt, and divine intervention. It showcases God's unwavering commitment to his people, even in their darkest hours. Through Gideon's journey, we witness the power of obedience and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. The narrative unfolds during a time of deep spiritual and physical oppression. The Israelites, having turned away from God, faced the brutal consequences of their disobedience. Their land was ravaged by the Midianites, their crops destroyed, and their livelihoods threatened. In their despair, they cried out to God for deliverance. This sets the stage for Gideon's emergence as a divinely appointed leader. Judges 6 is not merely a historical account, it is a story rich in symbolism and foreshadowing. It points towards the ultimate deliverer, Jesus Christ, who would come centuries later to redeem humanity from the bondage of sin. Gideon's struggles, his doubts, and his eventual triumph prefigure the life and ministry of Jesus. The chapter offers profound insights into God's plan of salvation. Let's delve into the key events of Judges 6. It will explore the parallels between Gideon's story and the life of Jesus Christ. It will also examine the timeless lessons that this chapter holds for believers today. Through this exploration, we can gain a deeper understanding of God's faithfulness and his unwavering love for his people. The Israelites, once again, had abandoned God and embraced idolatry. Their hearts had turned away from the one true God who had delivered them from slavery in Egypt. They worshipped false gods, forsaking the covenant they had made with the Lord. This spiritual apostasy had dire consequences. It opened the door for their enemies to oppress them. The Midianites, a nomadic people from the east, were God's instrument of judgment against Israel. For 7 years they terrorized the Israelites. They plundered their crops, stole their livestock, and left them impoverished and vulnerable. The Israelites were forced to hide in caves and mountain strongholds to survive. Their land, once flowing with milk and honey, became a desolate wasteland. The Midianite oppression was a stark reminder of the consequences of sin. It demonstrated the spiritual and physical devastation that results from turning away from God. The Israelites' suffering was a direct result of their disobedience and idolatry. It served as a painful lesson about the importance of remaining faithful to God. The text emphasizes the severity of the Midianite oppression. It describes them as thick as locusts and their camels as without number. This imagery conveys the overwhelming nature of the threat they posed to Israel. The Israelites were completely outnumbered and outmatched. They had no hope of deliverance apart from divine intervention. Gideon, a man from the tribe of Manasseh, was threshing wheat in a winepress to hide it from the Midianites. This humble setting highlights Gideon's unassuming nature and the desperate circumstances of the Israelites. He was an unlikely hero, chosen by God from obscurity to lead his people to victory. His initial reaction to God's call was one of doubt and disbelief. The angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon and addressed him as a mighty warrior. This greeting was ironic, given Gideon's fear and self-doubt. He questioned God's choice, pointing to his family's low status and his own perceived weakness. He struggled to reconcile his own limitations with the monumental task before him. Gideon's doubts and questions reveal his human nature. He was not a flawless hero, but a man wrestling with fear and uncertainty. His initial reluctance to embrace God's call makes his eventual obedience all the more remarkable. It demonstrates the transformative power of God's grace. Despite his initial hesitation, Gideon engaged in a dialogue with the angel of the Lord. He sought reassurance and confirmation of God's presence and purpose. His questions, though born out of doubt, also reflected a desire to understand God's will. This willingness to engage with the divine, even in his uncertainty, was a crucial step in his journey of faith. The angel of the Lord is a recurring figure in the Old Testament. This divine messenger often appears in critical moments of Israel's history. In Gideon's case, the angel's appearance marked a turning point. It signaled God's intervention in their plight and the beginning of their deliverance from the Midianites. Many theologians believe that the angel of the Lord is a pre-incarnate appearance of Jesus Christ. This interpretation is based on the angel's divine attributes and authority. The angel speaks as God, accepts worship, and performs miraculous acts. These characteristics suggest a divine nature beyond that of a mere angelic messenger. The angel's appearance to Gideon reinforces the idea of a continuous divine presence throughout history. It demonstrates God's active involvement in the lives of his people. The angel's words of encouragement and commissioning empower Gideon to embrace his role as a deliverer. The encounter between Gideon and the angel establishes a pattern that would later be fulfilled in Jesus Christ. Just as the angel appeared to Gideon in a time of need, Jesus came to earth to deliver humanity from the bondage of sin. The angel's commissioning of Gideon foreshadows Jesus' commission to his disciples to preach the gospel to all nations. Gideon, still wrestling with doubt, requested a sign from the angel of the Lord to confirm his calling. He prepared an offering of meat and unleavened bread and placed it on a rock. The angel touched the offering with his staff, and fire consumed it. This miraculous event served as a visible confirmation of God's presence and his acceptance of Gideon's offering. Not content with this initial sign, Gideon further tested God by requesting the fleece test. He asked for the fleece to be wet with dew while the ground remained dry, and then the reverse. God graciously granted Gideon's requests, demonstrating his patience and willingness to address Gideon's doubts. The fleece incident reveals Gideon's struggle with faith. It highlights the human tendency to seek reassurance, even in the face of divine revelation. God's willingness to provide these signs demonstrates his understanding of human weakness and his desire to build faith in those he calls. The consumed offering and the fleece symbolize God's power and his responsiveness to human requests. They signify his willingness to meet individuals where they are in their faith journey. These signs empowered Gideon to overcome his doubts and embrace his divinely appointed role. Are you ready for the next chapter? Just click here to go straight to it.